even beyond what they had. And Paul calls that, for any person to give the way the Macedonians were giving, you need special grace. It is the grace of giving. Many of us, I don't know, you are going to take an offering. When the time for offering is going to come, we pick the lowest denomination that we have. If it's a coin, the better. Isn't it? So you check your pocket and look for the smallest that you can give. Isn't it? No, you're not saying yes, but you know you're going. That's what we all do, even myself. Because you have need for your money. You have plans for your resources. And so you do not want to give everything. So you give the least that you can give. But the Macedonians gave not only all that they had, that they gave even beyond what they had. Can you think of what that is? Sometimes I've tried to imagine what that is like. Can you imagine what that is like? How do you give what you don't have? It means I tell my sister, do you have like a thou you gave me? I'll give you tomorrow this offering time. So I have already given what I have, but I also borrow hers so that I give. Do you get me? These Macedonian people gave beyond what they had. And it was not, the Bible says, Paul says, they did not give grudgingly, but they gave joyfully. Listen to this. For I testify, they gave as much as they were able, and even beyond their ability, entirely on their own. They urgently pleaded with us for the privilege of sharing in this service to the saints. In other words, when the preacher or the pastor forgot to collect the offerings, they would be putting up their hands and say, by the way, we have not given. And say, no, today you are not giving. No, please bring the bags. We want to give. Some of us, if the bag passes by you, say, wow, Lord, that was an answer to prayer. They forgot our rope. Isn't it? These Macedonian people, they were looking for opportunity to give. And Paul says, for one to give like that, it requires special grace. There are men and women, I must confess, that have the grace of giving. They look for opportunity to give, not just to the church, but even to other people. They hear somebody's in a need, they reach out quickly. They don't think twice. These are people with that grace of giving. Some of us, like Bishop Twimising says, we are stony givers. You know how a stone gives part of itself? How does a stone give part of itself? It has to be hit with a hammer. For a stone to part with part of itself, it has to be hit with a mallet. Or blown up with what do you call those things? The what? Dynamite. With dynamite. Poof! Then they say, well, okay. Not the Macedonians. And this came to mind when I thought of this woman. There is no evidence that this woman was of the noble stock. This woman was not from a rich family. This woman did not have much. There is no evidence that she was a rich woman. Neither is there any indication that she had a job, a good job. But driven by her love for the ministry of Jesus Christ, she gave out of her poverty with overflowing joy. But there was a problem. Given the great numbers of the landless, tenant farming peasants of the time, Some people present thought, this perfume surely, if it were to be sold, it could be put into better use. Why pour it on Jesus? And so we are told in verse number 4, some of those present were saying indignantly. Do you see the gripe again? First, they had a gripe with Jesus. They wanted to kill him. Here is another group now have a gripe with who? With the woman. And so they said to her indignantly, why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor. And they rebuked her harshly. Has anybody ever rebuked you for giving? What a waste. How could you give all that? And I think of to myself, amazing, how pious, these people sounding so nice. How charitable these people are. They're saying, give me that perfume, I would sell it and just distribute this money to the poor. But the big question is, after the perfume was